Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Sue.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about what you should do when you're not growing. So Neil, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Go first.
Okay, so mine's a little unorthodox, I think. Or maybe it might be the same for Neil. Actually, I'm 90% sure it's not the same. So if I'm stuck in a rut and I'm not sure what to do next, sometimes the best thing I can do, look, it seems like it's rah-rah, but go out there and take a break. Literally, I mean, disconnect from everything. And sometimes, I'll go out, travel somewhere, and then just take a notebook with me and maybe, my phone on airplane mode or whatever. And I'm just sitting there writing for the whole day. I'm just thinking. And, it's from these experiences where I'm disconnected from everything. I don't have the day-to-day hitting me where I can actually come up with great ideas and great inspiration because I've had the time to dedicate to have that headspace to clear out from everything else. There's no distractions. Nobody can bother me. Nobody can call me. It's just me, and I'm able to basically figure out some kind of breakthrough, and I have done that a couple times.
When most people stop growing, it's because they're relying on the same old tactics that got them to where they are today. So I like doing something a bit different in which when my growth starts slowing down or even declining, I try to do drastic, crazy experiments. In essence, in most cases, I'm even trying to do the opposite of what we're trying to do and see if that starts moving the needle, right? You can look at your competitors, you can try to copy them if they're doing something different than what you're doing. But generally speaking, what we found that boosts the growth the most is things that are really unorthodox. So for example, back in the day with Crazy Egg, we found that we grew really fast by just switching the homepage and making it from a long sales page to a really short page where it's just like enter URL and get people into the flow. And that boosted conversions. Then we tested adding sign in with Google because a lot of people already have Gmail usernames and passwords. So why make them register all over again when they can just click authentication button? It's still secure and safe for them. Their information is not getting leaked everywhere. And that worked out really well too. But then after a while, those things started hurting. So we went away from writing or having a really short homepage with just entering your URL to something that was a bit longer, right? Doing the opposite, drastic, that helped us grow again. Removing the Google login feature, again, that helped us improve our numbers. And the reason is over time, things change. For example, people or our space started getting crowded. We had more competitors. So having a longer page that explains how we're different helped. Or by removing the Google login feature and forcing people to just log in with Google and allowing them to create their own email and password helped because these days people are worried about security while 3-4 years ago, they weren't really concerned on security. So in general, if things start slowing down with your growth or they start declining, look at what you're doing and test the opposite. I know that sounds crazy, but generally it works.
Great. So on my end, actually, I think I might have shared this story before, but I have a friend that runs a, we'll just call it an advertising video production company. I know that's a mouthful, but he does videos, he does creatives for companies such as Burger King, for example, or these massive brands. And the reason they hire him and they pay him, millions of dollars for just one video, we're talking like a 30-second or 1 million slot, is because he's so creative. And I'm like, what's your secret to making these things happen? Why do people hire you? It's like, well, Eric, it's very simple. When people tell me to do one thing, I literally go out there and I do something different. When people zig, I zag. So, when the company's like, oh, we'd like to have this part in the beginning, he's like, okay, why don't we just put it in the end then? And they're like, oh, wow, mind blowing. So I'm oversimplifying it right now, but thinking about how you can go in a different direction when everyone's going in one, kind of what Neil's referring to too. That's almost a version of zigging when other people are zagging. And also, I think thinking about going back to the basics sometimes. We always were, especially in marketing, we're trying the new stuff all the time. But when I look at, some of the biggest changes or the biggest impact changes I've made on sites before is just a matter of changing the site structure or adding some additional text to somewhere, right? Adding keywords somewhere. It's really basic stuff that we start to overlook because we're always looking at the new stuff all the time, and we fail to kind of come back to looking at the things that actually made us who we are. And look, that stuff still works, so why not go back to it? So before we go, anything else, Neil?
No, not really.
All right, singlegrain.com/survey. Help us make this better. I'm going to keep saying it over and over. It's going to take 2 minutes of your life. It's going to make this better for you. You're going to get more customers.
And we appreciate it.
And we love you.